All right, hey friends, we are doing part 2 of our fall final review. We're going to start at number 27. It says using the given information, write the equation of each line. All right, so here number 27, we're going to write it in point slope form and slope intercept form. It says it has a slope of -4 and it goes through the point -6, 2. So I notice already they give me a slope and they give me a point. So I'm going to put it in that point slope form. That's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, where my point, the point that they give me, -6 is going to be my x1, 2 is going to be my y1. And my slope, my m, is -4. So writing that out, I'm going to say y minus 2 equals -4 times x, and I see a minus -6, so minus and a negative becomes a plus. So where it says point slope form, I'm going to write that out. Y minus 2 equals -4 times x plus 6. And then they want it in slope intercept form. Slope intercept form is our favorite form because that's just nice, easy. Y equals mx plus b. So in order to get from point slope form to y equals mx plus b, I have to do my don't call me after midnight steps, right? And I'm basically just distributing in. So it's going to be y minus 2 equals -4x. -4 times a plus 6 becomes a minus 24. And then the last thing I'm going to do to get that y by itself is I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Add 2 to both sides. So I get y equals -4x. -24 plus 2 should give me a minus 22. So that's y equals -4x minus 22. All right, number 28. It passes through the point 2, 7 and has a y-intercept of 4. Okay, so this is weird because they don't give us a slope, right? They give me, it passes through a point and a y-intercept. Well, guess what? Here, they actually give me 2 points, all right? So I have the point 2, 7, and then they say a y-intercept of 4. Now, I know for a y-intercept, I have a 0 where the x is, and then a number where the y is. In this case, the number is 4. So whenever I'm given 2 points, I'm going to put this thing in stat edit. All right, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to press stat edit. In L1, I put my x's. So I'm going to put 2, enter, 0, enter. Then I go over to L2 and I'm going to put 7, enter, 4, enter. Then I press stat again, over to calc, down to number 4, and I press enter a whole bunch of times, and I get y equals 1.5x plus 4. But remember, I usually want my slope to be a fraction. So I'm going to type 1.5, then math, enter, enter. So that should give me 3/2 for my slope. So my answer is y equals 3/2x plus 4. Guys, same thing for number 29, an x-intercept of 2, a y-intercept of 3. I'm given 2 points here as well. The x-intercept, I have a number where the x is and a 0 where the y is. For my y-intercept, I have a 0 where the x is and a 3 where the y is, a number where the y is, whatever that number is. Again, let's do stat edit. So I'm going to do stat edit. I can go all the way up to L1, press clear and enter. All the way up to L2, press clear and enter. In L1, I'm going to put my x's. That's 2, enter, 0, enter. Then in L2, I put 0, enter, 3, enter. Stat, over to calc, down to number 4. Press enter a whole bunch of times. And this time I get -1.5x plus 3. So I'm going to type -1.5, math, enter, enter. And for my equation, I get y equals -3/2x plus 3. Number 30, x-intercept of 6 and the point -6, -8. So x-intercept of 6 means that that is the point 6, 0. So again, let's do some stat edit. Stat edit, L1, clear and enter. All the way up to L2, press clear and enter. Guys, you can also just type over the numbers if you would like. So in L1, I'm going to put 6, enter, and -6, enter. In L2, I put -8. Nope, sorry, not -8. Oops, sorry, 0, enter, and then -8. I got to make sure my points all line up. Stat, over to calc, down to number 4. Enter, 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 enter. Okay, now I get this really wacky decimal, all right? We see a whole bunch of 6s and then a 7 at the end. Again, we don't like decimals as our slope, so here's what I'm going to do. In my calculator, I'm going to type point, and then I'm just going to put a whole bunch of 6s, like a bunch, y'all, until I get to the very end of my home screen. And then I have that arrow at that top left corner that tells me that I've kind of gone off my home screen. And then I'm going to press math, enter, enter, and that's going to give me my fraction. So my fraction for my slope is y equals 2/3 x. So where it says m right there, I'm going to put a 2/3. And then what did it say my y-intercept was again? Let's do that again. 4, enter, 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 enter. A y-intercept of -4. So y equals 2/3 x minus 4. All right, number 31. We have a y-intercept of -12 and a rate of change of -6. Now I need you to think to yourself, what does rate of change mean? Rate of change is our fancy phrase for slope. So guys, guess what? Everything is really good here because they give me my slope and they give me my y-intercept. So I can write this in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to write y equals -6x minus 12. That one was easy. 32 is the same thing. Write an equation that has a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of -3. They give me my slope. They give me my y-intercept. That's y equals 2x minus 3. So life is good there. All right, now we're getting into our parallel and perpendicular lines. All right, I want you to think, what do I know about parallel lines? Parallel lines should have the same slope. Parallel is same slope. And then what about perpendicular? Perpendicular is that funny word that we made up, right? My slopes are flopposites. You flip the fraction and you give it the opposite sign, all right? So we're going to keep that in mind as we do these few. All right, so we want an equation that is parallel to y equals 5/3x plus 2 and goes through the point -6, -3. All right, parallel is the key word. Parallel means same slope. So my slope here is 5/3. So the slope that I want is 5/3, and I want it to go through the point -6, -3. So let's put this thing in point slope form. That's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm just going to fill it in with -6 as x1 and -3 as y1. So that's going to be y minus -3, which should be plus 3, equals 5/3 for my slope times x minus -6. So that should be a plus 6. Guys, you could leave it like this in your point slope form, or we could go ahead and distribute in that 5/3x and solve for y. That's y plus 3 equals 5/3x. And then in my calculator, I can do alpha y equals 1 and do 5/3 times 6, which gives me plus 10. And then to get my final answer, I've got a really small subtract 3 from both sides. So my answer should be y equals 5/3x plus 7. That's supposed to be a 3. It's kind of hard to see. Sorry, y'all. All right. So for number 34, we want it perpendicular to y equals 6x plus 1 and goes through the point 12, -5. Now, the key word here is perpendicular. Perpendicular is that flopposites. Flopposites. So I take the slope that they give me. The slope that they give me is 6. All right. In order to find the flopposite, the first thing that I do is I flip the fraction. So think about 6 as being 6/1. So if I flip the fraction, I get 1/6. And then I give it the opposite sign. So right now my 6 is positive. So the opposite sign would be negative. So my slope here should be -1/6. And then let's use that point and put it in point slope form. So that's going to be y minus -5. So we're using this equation up here. Y minus -5, so y plus 5 equals -1/6 times x minus 12. Distributing in that -1/6, I get y plus 5 equals -1/6x. And then again, guys, I can do alpha y equals enter in my calculator, -1/6 times -12 should give me a +2. And then subtracting 5 from both sides, I get my answer, which is y equals -1/6x minus 3. Number 35, I want the equation of a line that's parallel to the x-axis and passes through the point 2, 3. Guys, whenever you see words like parallel to the x-axis, or even on number 36 where it says perpendicular to the x-axis, I want you to make a sketch for me because it's a lot easier to look at it and be able to recognize what's going on. So here, let's draw a mini graph. My x goes side to side, my y goes up and down, right? So if I want it to be parallel to the x-axis, remember parallel means that they do not cross each other. So parallel to the x-axis means that it is going to be a side-to-side line just like the x. So this is a Hoy situation. So that means a Hoy situation is a y equals, where it equals the y of my point, which in this case would be 3. That's y equals 3. So then on 36, perpendicular to the x-axis, again, here is my sketch. Perpendicular to the x-axis passes through the point 5, 7. All right, perpendicular means that they cross at a right angle. So if I cross the x-axis, that has to be an up and down line. So this is a Vux situation. So it should be x equals 5 because 5 is the x of my point. If y varies directly as x and y is 32 and x equals 30, find the equation that represents this situation. So whenever I see y varies directly with x, I'm immediately going to write y over x because this is a direct variation situation. All right. And for y, they give me that's equal to 72 and x is 30. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 72 divided by 30. And that gives me a decimal, but remember, I want it as a fraction. So I'm going to press math, enter, and I get 12/5. So for direct variation, I want my equation to look like y equals k times x. So in this case, my k is 12/5. So my answer is going to be y equals 12/5x. All right, number 38. We are going to graph this system of inequalities. Now, in order to graph, I need it to be set equal to y first. So on top, x plus y is greater than 3. The only thing I have to do here is I have to subtract x from both sides. So I get y is greater than -x plus 3. So here my slope is -1. So I'm going to go down 1, right 1 each time. And my y-intercept is at 3. It's a greater than sign, so it's going to be dashed, and I'm going to shade above. So let's do that first. Starting at 3, now go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1 each time. You can also go up 1, left 1, and then just draw in a dashed line through your points. And then very lightly, go ahead and shade above. All right, so then for my bottom equation, I also need to work some magic. So again, y is already by itself, so that's nice. So let's just add the 4x over. So I get y is less than or equal to 4x plus 4. So my slope is 4, so I'm going to go up 4, right 1 each time. And I'm going to start my y-intercept at 4. My sign is less than or equal to, so it's going to be a solid line because of that line underneath my inequality. And since it's less than, I am shading below. So start up at 4 and go up 4, right 1. You can also go down 4, left 1, down 4, left 1. And then draw in your solid line through those points. And then go ahead and shade below for me. That's going to be everywhere underneath my y-intercept. So then once you are done shading, it asks for a point that is in the solution set. Guys, remember the solution set, let's make it darker, is going to be everywhere here where my shadings overlap, right? So this whole area in here. So if they want a point that's in the solution set, they just want any point that is in this dark shaded area here. So truly, you could put something like 7, 2. That's what I'm going to put. But anything inside of there will work. 39 says to also graph this inequality. Remember, to graph an inequality, I again graph it just like normal. So I start by getting y by itself. I subtract 6x over, and I get 2y is less than negative 6x minus 14. And then to finally get y by itself, I just have to divide everything by 2. So I get y is less than negative 3x minus 7. My slope is negative 3, so I go down 3, right 1 each time. My y-intercept is at negative 7. Less than means that my sign will be, or my line will be dashed, and I will shade below. So let's start down here at negative 7. Now go down 3, right 1. You're kind of off your graph, so now go up 3, left 1, up 3, left 1. And then guys, draw on your dashed line through your points. And shade everywhere below. So below your line, it's kind of hard to see, but it's going to be everywhere down here. So 40 says in number 39, which of the following coordinates would represent a solution to the inequality? So guys, remember, a solution is anything that lies inside of that shaded area. So let's look. The point 110. 110 is all the way up here, so that's not in my shaded area. Negative 2, 1. Let's see, negative 1, negative 2, 1. That's not in my shaded area. Negative 4, 2. That's looking good. Then what about negative 1, negative 4? Okay, now that one's on my line. That one's a little iffy. Guys, remember, if it is a dashed line and it is on your line, it does not count. Only solid lines count if it is on your line. So our only answer could be B. 41 says, draw the graph that represents the equation 5x minus 3y equals 15. Now, we could go through the whole process of solving for y, or we could just find the x and y intercepts and make our lives a lot easier. Because remember, to find the x-intercept, all I do is I get rid of y. And I say 5x equals 15. And then I divide both sides by 5. And I get x equals 3. So I'm going to have my x-intercept at 3, 0. And then we repeat the process for y. For y, I just get rid of my x. So for my y-intercept, I do negative 3y equals 15. And then I divide both sides by negative 3. So that's y equals negative 5. So my y-intercept is at 0, negative 5. So I go down negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. And then I just draw in a line through those 2 points, my friends. Not hard at all. Number 42, describe the relationship between the graphs of the equations below. All right, so let's go ahead and let's graph both of these. All right, so I'm going to start with negative 1 over 5x plus 4. And actually, no, let's do that. Yeah, I'm going to say m equals, my slope is negative 1 over 5. So I'm going to go down 1, right 5 each time. And then my y-intercept is at 4. So let's start up at 4. And then let's go down 1, right 5. Down 1, right 5. You could also go up 1, left 5. Up 1, left 5. And drawing your line through those 2 points. Okay, so For this second equation, what I have to do is I have to actually solve for y for this one. So let's subtract 3x from both sides. And I get 4y equals negative 3x plus 16. And I'm going to divide everything by 4. Divide by 4. So I get y equals negative 3 over 4x, and then 16 divided by 4 is 4. So my slope is negative 3 over 4, so I'm going to go down 3, right, 4 each time. And my y-intercept is at 4. So again, I'm going to start up at 4. And this time I go down 3, right, 4. 1, 2, 3, right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 3, right, 4. Guys, you can also go up 3, 1, 2, 3, left 4. Is that 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And then you can draw in your line through those points. Now, it says to describe the relationship between the graphs of the equations below, but they're not really perpendicular. They're also not parallel. So there's really not a lot going on here. All right. They're both just two linear equations. But 43 says, what is the solution in the system of equations from number 42? All right. So guys, remember the solution is where my graphs intersect. So here, they intersect right here at this point, their y-intercept, which is at the point 0, 4. All right, guys, that is it for part 2 of the review. Stay tuned for part 3.